Do you have any talks scheduled this coming week, or when are you going to talk with the Golden Boy people about a Canelo fight next?
I mean, I've been in contact with Eric. You know, first step was to find out exactly how long Canelo was suspended for. You know, that was clarified by the Nevada Commission. There seems to be a lot of interest on their side. Naturally, there's interest on our side. We have Dan Beckerman here, the head honcho of all the AEG properties, including StubHub Center, including Staples Center, including T-Mobile, the O2, list goes on and on. But you know, I've been in regular contact with Golden Boy and with Eric, and you know, if there's a way to make that fight happen, you know, again, this is a fight where both guys have a huge incentive to make the rematch. Gennady feels, the whole team actually feels it was a bad decision the first time around. He feels he could have done better. The way he fought tonight was against Bonas or somebody else. He looked razor sharp tonight. You know, his speed, his timing, his distance. You know, I think we didn't necessarily see that exact sharpness against either Jacobs or Canelo. A lot of it had to do with the style of them wanting to, you know, basically survive more than actually fight. But at the same time, you know, Gennady's been in there with other boxers that have moved a lot and looked very dominant and impressive, just like he did against Canelo.
And just one quick follow-up for Abel. Abel, you were pretty hard on Canelo about his retreating style in the fight in September. How do you think he'll be perceived if he tries to wiggle away from a rematch with Gennady in September by his fan base?
Well, just the fact that he still has failed to enroll in any kind of program to be tested, I think that just puts that fight so much farther away. I think that they're both, if it happens, they're both in a state of mind that they're both mad at each other for the things that have been said, then I think that they're going to go at each other. It's going to be a much better, a more attractive fight for the fans. But I think he needs to do his part, as Gennady's doing his part, and that is with the testing. At least try to prove to the public and to the journalists that he's making an effort to show us that he's clean.
Is that a condition for you to even sit down with him at the table for him to enroll in VADA?
Well, it's not. That's not my call. That would be Gennady's call. But that's why when Dan asked about or Kevin or whoever was asked about the 10%, that's the reason that comment came out. It was because Canelo's side is not doing enough to try to make the fight.
But my question is, if you're going to sit down and negotiate, would that be a condition?
Norm, that would be absolutely a condition. Gennady's been VADA testing now since February, beginning of February. He's never failed a test. You know, if we're negotiating, Canelo's going to test, and Gennady's going to continue to test.
Step one.
Absolutely, and I do have to say that Eric said that wouldn't be an issue. So if we signed the agreement, then Canelo's going to test. You know, this last test was done earlier than the first fight. We'll insisted on, even for this fight. You know, it would have been an unfair advantage. Gennady's doing all this testing, proving he's a clean athlete, and then you come in with a replacement opponent on short notice. Who knows what they're doing? And that's going to be something that he gave. You know, he gave an unfair advantage, or actually, you know, the Danny Jacobs fight was an unfair advantage due to weight, but there's no reason to put a champion like Gennady, who follows all the rules, into a situation where there is an unfair advantage. And frankly, testing these days is 100% necessary. When you have a fight on this scale, at this magnitude, whether you're in Mexico training, whether you're in Big Bear training, wherever you're training, you have to be responsible for whatever goes in your body. Can you imagine, and Abel made a huge, great point, can you imagine with Gennady's punching power, had he tested positive? Can you imagine the outcry there would be of what happened? How did it get in the system? And Gennady says he eats steak all the time up in Big Bear, California. In fact, Mexican steak. There's a hacienda, a restaurant called the Hacienda, right across the street from Abel's gym. And he eats there all the time, and never had any issues. So, you know, we understand the responsibility for competing at boxing at this level, and that would absolutely be a condition for the rematch.
Abel, Gennady, how would a fight have went between you and Bernard Hopkins in your primes?
That would have been a great fight in their primes. I think that Gennadi's power would have been the difference, but Bernard was a great champion at 160.
Yeah, very interesting for me too.
I want to say what you did, walking the ring was exceptionally classic. Greeting fans and your long entrance. And two, can you rank the top 5 160 pounders in your opinion?
It is hard for me. You know, so many great people. I can't.
Well, Abel, feel free.
You know, there's
Yeah.
5 or 6 very, very good fighters. It's hard to rank them because they haven't fought. I would say once Charlo fights Jacobs, if that fight happens, I think that will determine one of, you know, a position. But there's Derevchenko, there's Jacob, there's Andre that's moving up, Murata, who's doing very well in Japan. There's a lot of very good fighters, and it's difficult to.
Canelo.
Styles make fights. Who?
That redheaded guy.
Gennady, I see your knuckle.
Yeah.
You've worked with Gennady for the last 7 years. To this day, are you amazed or not surprised with the punching power that Gennady has?
You know, I don't know if Robert Morales is in here, but when I first, I went to school with Robert Morales, was one of you guys. But when I first got Gennady, probably about 8 months after I got him, and we did, I think, 2 fights by then. I sent an email to Robert telling him that I had the next great middleweight that was going to set all kind of records, and you could tell just in not only the punching power, but the IQ. You would show him something, you would ask him to do something, never question anything. He would do exactly what you asked him and master it so quickly that we knew that it was going to be just a matter of time before people started to notice.
Gennady, would you ever let your son be a boxer?
He has a different life.
Gennady, I see your knuckle looks kind of red. Were your hands okay or?
No, it's my nerves like that. Of course, okay.
So, like throughout your career, you've expressed a lot of comments about going after the belts. If Canelo's not doing better, would you rather go after BJ Saunders to unify the division, or would you still pursue Canelo in September?
Where's better for me? For my team? I check. No.
I think we'll probably wrap it up now.
Everybody wants to.
Attendance was 7,837. Again, you set the record for the revenue here at StubHub Center, and a fight like this just continues a Triple G legend, adds to the build-up for a potential rematch or any fight that Triple G is going to have next. And I think if he fights like this in a rematch, you know, there were some issues that never came out before the first Canelo fight, but you know, it's one of those things that I think the fans are in for a treat whenever Triple G steps in the ring. Good.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Guy, can I see the knuckle real quick? Can I see your hand on the knuckle?
Yes. For today? No, this is a good job today. It's a good present to people.
You saw Abel got a belt today.
Yeah.
What do you say about that? WBC.
Thank you very much for WBC. You know? I have new belt and Abel have new belt.